Hello and good afternoon everyone. This presentation is about the integration of Grandstream IPPBX appliance and IPsmarx SIP trunking solution. So first I will start with the IPPBX appliance and I will plug in a phone and then register it under this IPPBX, and later on I will use IPsmarx SIP trunking to assign incoming trunk into this IPPBX and also configure outgoing trunk. So let's get started with the Grandstream. I'll first log into the Grandstream, and the very first thing that I need to do is I'll go to PBX, and under extensions I have to define an extension because I already have one phone. So I've created an extension 1000, and of course there is a SIP password and SIP username. And I've selected the codecs that I want to be defined for this extension. This is purely Grandstream IP phone and IPPBX configuration at this point. So I'll click on save, and once the configuration is saved I have to click on apply change, and it will reload the box and configuration will be reloaded. Now on the client side I will need to log into a Grandstream IP phone and configure it to work with this server. Under accounts, I will define the SIP user ID that I defined here under extension. So as you can see, I defined extension, authentication ID as 1000, and this is the account name, authentication ID, and the password is of course the password that I have defined here. And once we save, we click on, let's do this actually, we click on save and then we apply the configuration. What happens on the status, you should see that your device is now registered with the SIP server, and this SIP server is of course the IP address of your PBX appliance. By now we have connected a Grandstream IP phone into the Grandstream IPPBX appliance. There's no incoming, there's no outgoing. At this point, we're only registered. Now, in order to receive incoming call, you need a trunk. In order to make outgoing call, you also need a trunk. So let's create a voice over IP trunk. And in order to define a trunk, of course you use hostname as the IP or DNS name of IPsmarx solution, and all the settings here are pretty static and default. So we use UDP for SIP, and the username and password and authentication ID, and the codecs that I want to communicate when I go to this siptrunk.ipsmarx.com. Siptrunk.ipsmarx.com is the DNS name of my soft switch. You can replace it with the DNS name or IP address of your own soft switch, your own IPsmarx soft switch. Of course, when this is configured, you also have to define the same username and password on the IPsmarx site. And let's go ahead and take a look at that site. On the IPsmarx soft switch, under Manage Customer, I've defined a customer and I have associated SIP trunking service with this customer. Now, this customer has a SIP username and a SIP password. And this is exactly the SIP username and password, as you can see, that I've defined here. That means at this stage, Grandstream IPPBX appliance will become a client of IPsmarx SIP trunking solution, and it will register itself. So I click on save and then I apply the settings. And if I go to the status page after this, I should see that I have a client registered, and I also have under trunks a SIP trunk registered. That means now the connection between IPBX of Grandstream and SIP trunking of IPsmarx is established. Now, we have not defined any rule for outgoing call or incoming call. On the IPsmarx side, we need to associate some DID numbers into this trunk, and detailed setting of SIP trunking of IPsmarx can be found in our video trainings. For now, what you really need to know is that we have a SIP username and password, which we have already included in our PBX appliance settings, and we also need to assign DID numbers to this trunk. This is for the incoming call into that IPPBX appliance. Now, under call monitor, I already see this user 100 registered. And of course, I saw the same thing when I looked at the setting on my IPPBX appliance. For now, IPPBX of Grandstream and IPsmarx SIP trunk relationship is established. Now, let's go and define some rules for incoming call. So I go under PBX and let's define some outbound rules first because they're easier. What I've done is, by default, every basically pattern in Grandstream IPPBX appliance starts with underline or underscore, and then followed by the number of digits. And these rules you can of course find all the details inside of Grandstream manual, but for now, this means every 9-digit, 10-digit, 11 and 12-digit number, all outbound per se, should go to the SIP trunk, which is the SIP trunk of IPsmarx that we have defined. That means every single call from this Grandstream appliance will automatically be routed to IPsmarx SIP trunk. And let's test it now. By the way, the rules that I was mentioning that you can define more, like let's say you have 13-digit, this is the section, but all the details can be found either through this tooltip box, or more details can be found in Grandstream manual. For now, since I've already saved this setting, let's try to make an outgoing call. And let's take a look at IPsmarx call monitor to see how an outgoing call will look like. So I pick up the phone and I call into our office number. So you should see an outgoing call. Let me end this call. Okay, so that means the IP phone that I have registered under IPBX appliance can now make a call, and the call will go to IPBX appliance first, and through this SIP trunk outbound rules that we have defined, it will be sent to this SIP trunk, and this SIP trunk is defined as our platform, which is IPsmarx SIP trunking. So that's how you can see an outgoing call being established, and you can easily trace it on IPsmarx call monitor. This is the outgoing leg of a SIP trunk. Now let's cover the incoming one. As I indicated, for this SIP trunk, I've already reserved 2 DID numbers. You can assign many DIDs, and these DIDs happen to be from Toronto, but you can assign DIDs from UK, from US, or you can mix and match different DIDs, and these are all the features that we have under IPsmarx SIP trunking. For the incoming traffic, which means people calling these DIDs and coming to that Grandstream IPBX appliance, the SIP trunk is already established. Now we need to define some inbound rules. And there is a pattern which is basically wildcard, and that means like every single DID that comes into this platform. For now, because I only have one extension, I've defined a wildcard. That means like any DID coming to this system has to go to extension 1000. Of course, based on Grandstream setting, you can send it to voicemail, you can send it to conference room, and these are additional features that Grandstream IPBX appliance has. And I assume you can find all the details in Grandstream manual. But for now, what I'm interested in is sending a call to an extension. So I've defined any call, any DID coming to the system should go to this extension 1000. And let's try it. I will have to call to this number from a different phone, and I already have a different phone. This is not the Grandstream phone that I use to make outgoing call, because now I want to simulate an incoming call to that extension. So I pick up the phone and I call into that DID number. And as you can hear, my phone, my Grandstream phone is ringing, and let's just pick up the phone. Hello? Yes, as you can hear, the call is now established. Let me hang up. Perfect. So this is the incoming call, and let's review this quickly. Inside of IPsmarx SIP trunk, you have settings that says how much you want to charge this customer for this DID. And for the sake of testing, I have defined the rate as 0. And as you can see, the customer has maybe $8 balance here now. Authentication is fine. And we are making a call back to this appliance. And the call was connected and the duration was 9 seconds, and we rounded to 9 seconds because the rate was 0. We have the cost as 0. You can manage all kind of rates and packages inside of IPsmarx SIP trunking, and all the details can be found in our training videos for IPsmarx SIP trunking. Now, on the client side, just to review, we did only define one extension. We went under VoIP trunks, and then I defined an IPsmarx SIP trunk that is the connection between Grandstream PBX appliance and IPsmarx soft switch and IPsmarx SIP trunking. And the setting here is the username and password that you use here. This username and password is the SIP username and password that you have defined inside of IPsmarx SIP trunking module. Which makes sense. That means that IPBX from Grandstream should be registered with IPsmarx soft switch, which is based on what we saw on call monitor. We saw that this IP address 46, which you can trace it back to 46 being IPBX appliance from Grandstream, is registered. And for the incoming and outgoing settings, I had to define outbound routes and inbound routes, and all the rules. For now, I've used wildcard, but let's say you have 5 DIDs and then you want to have each DID assigned to one or different extension. What you do here is you define the DID number here, like let's say 1416.665.6999. It has to go to extension 1000. Another DID 1416.665.6997 should go to extension 10001. Let's say if you have multiple extensions. And that is how you can integrate IPsmarx SIP trunking and Grandstream IPBX appliance. Thanks for watching this video, and have a great day. Bye for now.